friends, politicians and colleagues of South African rapper Kiernan AKA Forbes have all been visiting his Johannesburg home after his death last week.
In fact, he was killed alongside his friend Tebello Tibz Motsoane on Friday in Durban. Linda Mnisi is live to us from just outside the family home in Bryanston and joins us now. Linda, of course, there's also going to be a lot of focus now around when memorial services and funeral arrangements will be made.
Indeed, Ayanda, you'll remember that just yesterday we got the news that Kiernan Forbes, a.k.a., also known as a.k.a.'s remains, arrived in Johannesburg. He was killed on Friday, which means that the family would have dealt with the issues, around his body and how to get his body over the weekend. So yesterday we got that information from the family lawyer informing us that his remains are in Johannesburg, but the details around his funeral as well as the memorial service will of course be communicated at a later stage and perhaps later in the week, as of course as you can imagine, all the planning has now kicked off because of course his body has arrived here in Johannesburg. We've been seeing quite a number of people arriving at his home to pay their last respect even before his body arrived in Johannesburg. You'll remember on Saturday the people that were here, I'm talking about the mother of his 7-year-old daughter, DJ Zindla, I'm talking about Oskido, who is also a DJ and musician, some of the fans that have arrived here. We saw politicians yesterday arriving and making statements just outside this home. So at a later stage then, those details around the funeral service as well as the memorial service will be communicated by the family.
There's certainly been a lot of activity in the last few days, but I wonder early on this Tuesday, Linda, how it's looking where you're at this morning.
Well, it's still very quiet. I'll just ask my colleague to just show you around. It's still very, very quiet. There's been no movement at all. As one can imagine, it's still very early in the morning. So we're expecting that at a later stage, then things will start picking up with those who are coming to pay their last respects, as you would know, that his mother and father are back in Johannesburg after traveling to Durban. They're back in Johannesburg. So it's expected then that quite a number of people will arrive to pay their last respects. As you would have seen, politicians also speaking out about the issue around gun violence in the country. If I remember correctly, it was the Premier of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, who spoke about how the issue around gun laws and gun violence in South Africa needs to be debated and something really needs to be done urgently. The motive is still unknown at this point as why he was shot in that manner. Fikile Mbalula speaking about it yesterday, saying that it really brings about questions as to why somebody would shoot and kill him in the manner that he did, because AKA was not known to be dealing in drugs but was known to be a musician. So police then will investigate that part of the motive around his killing. It's also important to note that there hasn't been any arrests being made, despite of course calls from various parts of society to make those arrests. His death comes just after a number of musicians as well were killed. You'll remember just late last year the brutal killing of DJ Somebody, which also sparked the same reaction. I remember at the time opposition parties such as the EFF were questioning why there wasn't an activation plan, because it is such cases, Ayanda, that bring confidence in the public that perhaps if the issue around gun violence is dealt with and the people that shoot people and kill them are arrested quickly, then it inspires confidence amongst ordinary South Africans that perhaps if it happens to them, law will take its course.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to think about as we make sense of this moment. Linda Mnisi, thanks very much indeed. Left us there from Bryanston.